Ready?
Ready.
Ready. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Truth Bombs and Bloopers with Priska and Christina. And I'm very happy to have another talk with you, Priska. These last 2 weeks have been lots of chaos out there, right? We need to breathe in a lot.
Yes.
A lot is coming up to the surface that we have to, which we can no longer ignore. And things are so in the face of the whole world that we can no longer say we don't have anything to do with that because we're all involved. And before we started recording, we talked about that all the things that happened right now, starting with Corona and now what's happening in the US and worldwide with the question of equality, we are really, really forced to go deeper into how we can come as humanity from separation to oneness. And we decided to talk about that, to talk about all the experiences we made in that field, connected with race, racism, or the history of it. And what we can do right now, how we can use this platform to spread some more knowledge and truth bombs. So, Priska, what have you been pondering upon, thinking, feeling these last few days, weeks?
It has, as you said, Christian, has been a lot, and just that people know I'm in no way an expert in this matter, like seriously zero, because this hit me as hard as probably many other people. And this doesn't mean that I was not aware that racism existed, but I was not aware that racism existed in a form that made me a racist. And where I realized, man, I really have to step up and I really have to re-educate myself about this matter. And I think this is always like, you know, it's so hard because we all want to be good people, right? So like we have like learned that racism is something bad. So we just, you know, what we then do is like, okay, the good thing is to not see color, you know, to treat everybody equally, or to, you know, like just ignore the fact that there are races, which is also a form of racism. And this, like, it hurts so badly when you're realizing that, oh man, I'm really, you know, in a way, of course, it's good to treat everybody equally because, for example, I have been working with kids for 3 years and they were from all kind of like ethnical backgrounds, many of them like people of color, kids of color. And of course, they were like just, no matter if they were like from Africa originally or from India originally or from Asia somewhere originally, or we had everything, literally everything. And of course, they were just kids and there was no difference between any kind of race. And at the same time, I'm realizing how problematic it can get when we just try to be good people. And especially when we start to defend ourselves and people tell us that we do actually racist things when we think, oh no, I'm not a racist. You know, like this is what I've learned, the white fragility, to really look into our stuff and to really educate ourselves about the pain so many people of color and especially Black people, Black Indigenous people are going through each and every day, and how they have to like adapt their lives or even like are scared of their life because of their color, of the color of their skin. And this was hard for me, you know, to realize, oh damn, you know, like, and to not go into defensiveness, but really staying open to listen, to be with the anger of people, to hold the space for people who were very angry, you know, like in several groups, to just be there and witness the anger and the pain and how deep this runs, and also opening conversations with friends who are of color. And I cried so much last week. Like we had actually a launch plan. We didn't do anything. We just were like, okay, we cannot do that shit right now. We just have to put everything else aside and just be with that and let that sink in, and watch, like Bas and I have been watching videos and ordering books, and really just being with it in the mess. And at the same time also very this deep gratitude, for what you said. It has to come up right now to be cleansed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for you, how was this? What was your, like, did you have like an aha moment, or was it for you, because we just talked a bit about it earlier, for you already have, it's not something new that and you already have not, oh my God, written, I wanted to say, I'm really tired today, I'm sorry, read the books, and you have already done the work before, right?
Yes, I was confronted with this question from a very, I don't know, it started when I had my exchange year in the States, where even, the word race is actually the wrong word, because race refers to different species, actually. And we all belong to the same species, no matter if we have a different color of skin. And so we are actually one race, the human race. And I was very confused when I started my exchange half year, and you don't know where they send you to which state, to which place, and I got sent to Texas, to the very south.
Wow.
And I was shocked to see how racism was very active there. So you had, like, on one side of the hallway, you had the black people, on the other side the white people, this side of the room, the classroom, were the black people. So, and even when I started chatting with Black American guys, there were some white girls who told me, but you're not gonna go out with those. So
wow.
It was it was still alive there. There were.
When was that?
That was 94, I think. 94. Yeah. I was 17 years old. Yes, it was 94.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was really shocked, and that was the first moment for me where I felt so much anger, because I can easily, as you said, I don't see the color. I see the soul of someone. I have been in love. I have fallen in love with darker people in my life. And so I didn't like it there. So I changed to California. I was there for like 2 months, just crying every day, because it was so, I just didn't feel like I belonged there. So I could change, and it was already different in another state.
Yeah.
But it was, and then I learned a lot about the history, about slavery, and how this whole, that it is right that some humans think they can oppress another human just because they look different. And it was during this whole during the colonialism that this was so imprinted in our genes that it was actually okay. And up to now, certain people who are providing security, I mean, not only the cops, but the police system started when slavery was still active, and to protect to protect the white people, that these slaves should still be suppressed, should still be kept small. And that's what's so painful. And I think that's this whole history bubble came out now and exploded, and there is no way that we can go on like this. I mean, this the most cruel thing to let someone die slowly in front of a camera and believe that he is right to do that.
Yeah, they have only been fired, right? That's what happened. They have been fired. Nothing else happened, or not even fired in the beginning. I'm not even sure. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously, it's incredible. It was so shocking to see that. Yeah, like really.
Yeah,
really
and
shocking.
I think this is not just about black and white and racism and all that. I think in the end, it's about humanity and
100%.
how we as humanity come to the next level from, as I said in the beginning, from separation to oneness. And
yes, and I think the very important part there is that we cannot rush these things, because of course now there's like a wound that it has always been there, and now it's even got like reopened in such a brutal way, and so many people are really mourning and are being angry, and this is also why the riots are happening. And we cannot like want to go from, oh, but we just have to forgive and be one happy family. This needs some space first to really, you know, like express itself, and we really need to have the change, like a sustainable change. And this is where I really have very many question marks. How are we going to change that, you know, as humanity? I know we need to, but how can we change a system that is so deeply ingrained with us that we don't even see it, you know, we don't even realize it? Because I mean, like I count myself in as quite an aware person, and I love, or I hate like injustice, and I really love that everything is always like fair, and you know, everybody gets to be heard. And even I was kind of, I'm realizing now, I was actively just also closing my eyes in a way, because I also didn't speak up. Of course, I spoke up when somebody did something racist. I really did. I also had a person in my life who was constantly, you know, and I always had fights and always stood up. And at the same time, I never really voiced it out, made it a topic, for example, because I felt inadequate to speak about it because I know so little, you know, but I also didn't educate myself. So that's the problem. I didn't educate myself about it so that I could have a voice and stand up for what is right. So that's where I'm just wondering, how can we all as humanity be part of the change? And I think this not knowing is also okay right now, to just surrender to it and do the best steps we can to be inclusive and see where the problem stands, and use our voices to just see these inequalities, yeah, and voice them out.
yeah, and as you said, I think we need to start within. We need to start in our small little home. Mm-hmm. And educate the next generation, because that whole thread of continuing with the same stuff, the same stories, that's what will keep the separation active. And
yes,
I think maybe our generation was already fighting against the generation. Well, I grew up fighting all the time with my father about this subject, because he has also been educated in that old way. And I think it needs time, it needs new generations. I also believe that the generation that are children now already come here with a completely different mission.
That's true. That's true.
And that's where we need to start, and it will not happen till tomorrow. But when I look at the big changes, you know, let's say wars that stopped, it always had to go to an extreme, and to be in the face of the whole world that something would change, you know.
That's true.
When we see the pictures of the children dying, when we see this brutality or suffering, then something is starting starting the changes. As long as everything is just in the comfort zone, nothing will be done.
And I think it really always needs a face, right? Because when we talk about racism, it is just so impersonal. But when we have an actual face, a person we can see, we can recognize ourselves within that person, that's when it gets to us. You know, it's also like sometimes when something happens where like thousands of people get killed, we cannot even take that. But if you just focus, if you see one person, then we have some kind of a relation. You can also see that in movies, right? Like if some like people just get killed in a movie, but if we have built up a relationship with a person and they get killed, this is when we get touched. So this is also like, I think this is also why we need to start more connecting really with people who are experiencing these things and really being with them and trying to like really getting to know them. Because I think the whole racism part also is nowadays racism, not the like slavery part, and the people are just seen as property point. Like it's so awful. But nowadays often like the fear that keeps us back, you know, because the fear maybe of saying something wrong or the fear of how are they working, because like this is different, like Black people in their communities are often differently than we are in our white communities. So we have to learn about how do they work, you know, how like, for example, they express their emotions often much more passionately than we whites who are taught to be, you know, silent and, you know, contain everything. So it's really a different culture as well that plays into it. And then we interpret it as, for example, aggressive or I don't know. And this is like the conversations I've been following a lot also on Facebook, that they just feel misunderstood by white people as well and judged for something we just don't understand.
Yeah, it was like almost like an institutional separation for so long that but also for them, you know, if you look, you know, they took the slaves and put them on the worst places in the cities where no white person would ever wanted to live, because there was no clean water or because there were some other dangers. And still today people are living there, and then you grow up and you have no education, no proper education. Maybe there is still no food, you know, there are all these food deserts and they don't have clean water, no education. And then, you know, okay, if I want to survive, maybe the easiest way is if I sell drugs, because I have no other way. And that's where, you know, where it needs to happen. And even though there was a president with other color, that's not enough. That's not enough.
It didn't help. No, it was not enough. Absolutely not. No. It really has to change from the inside out, and the inside out is us. It's the individual. We have to start thinking differently. We have to act, and of course also the system, like where do the funds go? I mean, get the schools in the Black communities the same funds like in the white communities. That's exactly the problem. The money always goes just to the white ones, you know, and then they have bad education and the teachers are not as good as in the white schools. So it's this circle. It's just not fair because we don't have the same starting point in some way in life, and they constantly have to fight harder for every flipping thing. Also, like, I mean, like many work givers really don't employ Black people because they have all these ideas about how Black people are. And as a Black person, you have to so often really constantly prove yourself to be worthy. It's heartbreaking. I read some things that were like, oh my goodness, like constantly proving yourself. You know, I'm not lazy. You know, I'm good at that, what I do. And it's not about victimizing Black people, absolutely not, but just seeing the reality of how things are.
Yeah, and also if we go further, even how they themselves see and how do they want to step out of this comfort zone that has been built for them. You know, when I think of the caste system in India, it's the same. You know, if you are in this caste, you're not gonna marry someone from this caste.
No,
and
No.
you have no choice to go another way, and they don't even want to. That's the thing. And it all comes back to the spreading of the awareness that in the end we are all connected, and we are just, if we would look from an energetic perspective, we would all be in a huge big hug together, because we're all connected, and we're not, and not only as humans, but we're connected with all species, with animals, plants, everything, stones. We're actually all one. And as long as we are looking for separation, and we are looking for the drawers and the compartments, and we think, oh yes, even in our country, let's just take the example. You're from Bern, and Bern people are the slow people, for example. And everybody put the people from Bern into this drawer, and you grow up with that. It kind of goes into the same continuation of
that's true.
Of prejudice. And because there are less chances for them to succeed from the first day of birth, when they have been born into a community that lives on the far end of a city, then of course you're going to behave like that.
Yes. And I really think this is all just a start. I really believe that everything that keeps this separation apart will pop up one after the other. Sexual orientation, the whole gender question, gender fluidity, like religion stuff. I really see, so like maybe even like animal rights. I hope actually so that this also will be a topic. Yes. Just stuff that will come up, because I really feel like there's no more space to hide. And I really think only when we can get rid of all these I'm going to say labels that we are having on ourselves. Like, I'm now, I have many good labels, like socially good labels, because I'm a privileged person in the sense of, because I'm heterosexual woman, I'm cis gender, I'm a cis woman, I cis woman, I don't like, I feel as a woman, I live as a woman, I'm like, this is happening, I'm white, I'm from Switzerland. Like, these are all these labels who give me so much a higher start in life, just because, and I did not do shit for that. I didn't do anything. And what makes me better than somebody else who has different labels on it? And unless we really are able to rip these labels somehow off and just see a person for who they are, and not for their skin color or their religion or their, I don't know, educational background even.
And not even the person, but even their soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, on a soul level, we're the same.
And we have a long way to go, haven't we? We have a long way to go, and still it's like one step after the other, and we just need to trust and really be the voice of change as good as we can. And again, I'm also super sorry if I insulted somebody, like by saying what I just said. Again, I'm still learning a lot on this journey, and it's never my intention to hurt anybody. I'm just sharing the truth that I know it today, and maybe it's going to change again tomorrow. This can totally be. But it's a journey, and we're all in this together, and it's okay that it gets messy, and it's okay that we make mistakes, and it's okay that we also just get back up and do better. And
and I think I strongly believe that everyone who is here now and who has incarnated now is here to help this shift. I strongly believe that. And
100%. Yes.
I'm constantly looking forward to the next whatever it is, and when I look back already what has happened, because one life is from this perspective, it's like nothing. It's like a minute, a second,
Yeah.
And when you look back and and especially now when I was diving into this whole history of slavery again, I cannot believe what
we did.
Yeah, what we did.
And it's not even so long ago.
It's not even so long ago.
No, I think it's grand people from people who are alive now, I think.
I mean, it really stopped. It was in the 1960s when the segregation took place. That's nothing. That's
literally, it's what I read lately. Forgive me if I say it wrongly, the numbers, but there in and it's not in America. This was in Great Britain. There was also obviously slavery, and like when the slaves got freed, not the slaves got money, but the white people who had to let go of their slaves, and they had such a big hole in their funds of the country that they had to pay it off till I think 10 years ago or something, which means that Black people nowadays living in Great Britain have been paying taxes for the white people who had their ancestors as slaves, which is mind fucking blowing. Like it's just so like this. I don't even know what to say. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And this is just, I think when we would look up under all these things, like all these pots that are cooking somewhere politically, we would just see so much has been built on the shoulders of other people who were minorities, just that somebody else could go. It's just get more power, get bigger, because it's like it's so sad to say, but we're not so different from there than animals, right? Just the strongest survives. Mm-hmm. But we are even worse because we really are just cruel in the most incredible ways. And we pretend to be kind, and this is just like when we look into these abysses of humanity, it's just like, oh my God, this is also within us, this is also part of us. And the thing is also, when we know now that DNA is this trauma is in our DNA and we can inherit that, so it's also logical that, for example, like people who are the kids of slaves, that this trauma is not gone, it's still there, it's still alive.
Yes.
And same here, like also us, like the white people, like having treated people of color like trash. Also, this is somehow probably in our DNA. So it's really an unlearning and reprogramming of beliefs that have been within us for ages.
Yeah.
And this is why this is such a deep work that is needed, to really look in the mirror and really calling ourselves out on our own BS and beliefs that we've had.
Yeah, and I was thinking really about this whole question about the color itself, because I was really sad when I watched this. I don't know if you saw this video when they asked little children.
Yes, I know this one.
Dolls, a white doll and a black doll, and they all were almost scared to say that they liked the white doll better, and they felt like the dark doll was bad. Mm-hmm. And there was this moment where they realized, I'm actually saying no to myself when I pointed to the black doll, and it was so painful.
It's hard to say where it's coming from, and I really think also because, of course, when they ask American kids, where a whole society is brainwashed that white is beautiful and you have to have straight hair, and and also, for example, that in whole India, that's such a big thing, that they are brightening their skin. Like it's crazy. So I don't know why this, or I know why, because we just are on the top of the food chain, and we just have all these advertisements out where it's all about white women looking a certain way, or white people looking a certain way. But I don't know if it has something to do with the color. I think the only connection that I also can see now is like that the Black community just remind us also of a very dark period of our humanity, how we've been treating them. Mm-hmm. Like when we really dive into what happened to slaves and how they have been treated, and what kind of I don't even want to go there because it's just ripping my heart out. It's just so dark, literally so dark.
Yeah, that's what I said. You cannot even imagine that something like that, they who were in power, it was socially acceptable.
Yes, and the thing is also, you could not even let your slaves just free, as if when you had slaves, you could not just let them go free. You could get threatened by the whole other people, the white people, and this was also institutionalized, this whole slavery thing. It's just crazy. And the thing is, this nowadays we think, how could this happen? And still it's actually happening, just in a different way. We're just looking at it. And I think this is where I'm so shocked in a way about us, like about me. I can only talk about myself, that this is something that happens all the time, still in a different way. And I really pray that one day we can look back and think, oh my goodness, really? Is this what we have been doing in 2020? This has been a thing then. It's unimaginable that people are treated differently, no matter what kind of, by their races. This is I really hope that one day we will look back and think, oh my goodness, how could we do that?
Yeah. And that's why I think it's so beautiful that right now the whole platform is open, and there are so many beautiful examples.
Yes.
People. Yes. So we can admire them and admire their work and their beauty, and that our children grow up with this variety, and that they are not the minority, but to give them really so much space as possible, that we become almost the minority, because it almost felt like a death when the movement started, that everything else just was so out of place. Everything else that was, that mattered before, was just so out of place that, know how it feels when someone dies. It's like nothing else matters. Just, and that's how it felt. And what we can do, were there any films or books that you or articles that you read that you can recommend for
I can share when we have the links. I can share in the links the resources for white people where we can educate us. I have some Google documents which are amazing, not made by me or us, but by somebody else, where you can, with Netflix series and books and articles and speeches from people or by people of color or white people talking about the issue, which I really think are really amazing. And White Fragility, for example, the book, I have not read it yet, but I have watched a video about 1.5 hours by the author. She's white, so actually I would have loved it to have a black person to support a black person in this case, but she's white and she does amazing work. I forgot her first name. It's D'Angelo. And the movie, we saw that way before, I think half a year ago, When They See Us, is so it's not a movie, sorry, it's a mini series on Netflix. When They See Us, it's about it's a true story of, I think, 5 black boys who got convicted for murder, who are actually innocent, and just having their journey. And at the end there's the real people talking with Oprah, and it's just so moving, and I was just crying the whole movie through. It's so touching to see how injustice, the whole system just it's just unjust, and I cannot say it. It's not fair. The whole system is just not fair. It's filled with injustice. And there's this 13th, I think. I haven't watched it yet, also on Netflix, and I've heard so many great things, and I've read just many posts, articles.
There's also 12 Years of Slave.
Yeah, yes.
That one I can recommend. And the book Roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then The Hands of My Grandmother, I think, must be also very good. I haven't read it, something like that. I'm sorry if I say it wrongly. And How to Become an Anti-Racist, because it's really about, you cannot be, you have to choose a side. When you're silent, you're just on the wrong side, because we cannot stay silent about this topic any longer. So this is why anti-racism is just it's a thing, and it's so important that we become active in this case. Yeah.
And
yeah, these are the things, but I will post the things, like these resources in the comments below.
yeah, that's great. Yeah.
This is such a big topic, and we could talk forever, I think, because there's so much that it opens one chapter after the other.
And,
Yeah.
as you said, we are not history experts.
No.
But we decided to talk about it to just because it's, as you said, it's not time to be silent right now. This is not helping anyone. It's just we need, in order to change, we need to be the change. And we need to maybe talk about uncomfortable topics that we're not even considering that we're experts in. Because only when everyone talks about it, even the non-experts, something is starting to move.
Yes, I just wanted to add, if people are also seeing that and want to educate us, I'm absolutely open to everything, to learn and relearn and unlearn. And I also know that of course, you can also share like real stuff and create more damage than good. But I think we chose our words, hopefully, like that it did not do any damage, and people can see our heart and where we're coming from, that we really want to be part of the change and not actually create more hurt. So yeah,
exactly. I think that's why we even created this space, the Truth Bombs.
Yes,
because it's so easy to just watch and go on and judge or maybe think about it, but we often don't feel comfortable talking, and we often don't know, do we find the right words? Or I often have it that afterwards, I think, oh, I should have said that or that. But I think it's just about inspiring the change.
Yeah, being part of the change and not just sitting passively there waiting for things to change.
Yes.
Yeah. So true, so true, so true. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So if people have any questions, if they want to, if we said something that was hurting you, or if we said something that was not correct, please, we're so open to learn. And and if you have suggestions about other things you want to talk about, that too. We love that. We love to help, like, discuss a topic that comes from you guys. And I think that's it. Thank you so very much for being with us in this uncomfortable situation today.
And Priska, I have also been thinking about maybe at some point we can do a live that we can even be chatting or like asking questions at the moment. So if you listen or watch this episode and you think I would like to be part of a live, then leave a comment and give us the feedback. Let us know. And
perfect. Love it.
Yeah, that's also, we plan to interview some people in the future, right?
Yes, we do. We have some ideas. We have some good ideas.
Yes.
And if you have also people or you think, oh, I should be on this podcast with you guys, then let us know too.
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the next episode and the next talk with you with Truth Bombs and Bloopers. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Stelle mal das aus, also sie macht.
Ich glaube, wir müssen anfangen, sonst werde ich so müde, dass ich nicht mehr reden kann.
Wir müssen übrigens das mal ein bisschen mehr Bloopers machen, weil wir haben das letzte Mal nichts gemacht.
Oh mein Gott. Ja, macht nichts. Wenn wir mal anständig sind, ist das auch gut. Wir haben jetzt auch ein Thema.
Du hast ein paar Mal geeint, dann nicht mehr die Geine.
Ja, genau. Ich gehe ein bisschen zu dir. Okay. Ah, my God.
Awesome. Ready?
Ready.